also, after a string of very embarrassing guest pickers, the last two have done very well. So, Moy won 9, and then last week we had Cameron with 8. So they showed well for themselves.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this week's games I think are interesting. There's a lot of NFL and a lot of college games that I think it's a good weekend for football. I mean, there really is. You've got Georgia and Tennessee that are trying to figure out who's going to get in as we look at them. And again, if those that are listening, we've got them on our Facebook page. Go pick Clemson and Pitt. Clemson's still trying to find a way to get into the ACC championship. Colorado, I think Utah may be a trap game. Well, Baylor's on there just because they're in the Big 12. There's really nothing else other than that. ACU Tarleton, big game today. Today in our 8 o'clock hour. We've had Coach Keith Patterson on before, but we're going to have a quarterback Maverick McGyver and running back Sam Hicks in, and they've got a big game. I mean, literally winner take all.
It is.
And for the first time, we've seen Division I basketball success at ACU with Texas, with the men and the women making to the NCAA tournament. Of course, Texas, the big Texas win when ACU beat Texas 53-52. But this is an opportunity for ACU to get into the playoffs, conference championship playoffs. Maybe we'll ask Coach Patterson, maybe a chance to even host a first-round playoff game. But anyway, there's just a lot of football this weekend. And I put in our rundown that the NFL Week 11, there's some rivalry games. And last night was one of them, Thursday Night Football. The Eagles beat the Washington Commanders 26-18. And I threw this out to Unsportsmanlike on Twitter. Is Saquon Barkley the biggest move and change maker or decision maker or game changer, or whatever you would call it, that was made in the offseason?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's even bigger because the other one, who would you say the other one would be? Same position.
Well, Derrick Henry,
Derrick Henry,
but at the same time, I don't know that he's really turned how that team plays around. I mean, he's done well, but when the Eagles, had a problem last year, running the ball at all, and they've changed that completely.
Yeah, I do. I think he is the difference maker that's almost been the separation, if you will, or the bridge the gap, because at the end of last year, a lot of people thought Nick Sirianni would be gone. And even at the beginning thought still might be awkwardness, and are he and Jalen still jiving? Are they got issues? And I'm telling you, the Detroit Lions are really good, but I would be, of course, it doesn't matter as the Cowboys situation continues to get just worse. As Jerry let everybody know we do know where the sun is. Ironically, every day it rises in the east and sets in the west. I think even in Arlington, and but I think the Philadelphia Eagles. Were you shocked by that? I wasn't shocked by that loss. I really thought, because Washington was going good, going fine, but what you can't do against good teams is settle for field goals. And Philly kind of made a couple field goals and said, we're fine, we're fine. And then all of a sudden it was like, if you had Saquon Barkley on your fantasy team, trash points went crazy at the end last night.
Yeah, that last touchdown really that sealed it and put it away. I was watching that game because I don't like the Eagles. They're my number one.
They're your NFL Astros.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what they are. And so obviously I'm not a Commanders fan either, but out of those two, I was hoping the Commanders would show up and play well, just because just knock the Eagles down a bit. That would make me a little bit happy. But and they didn't play poorly. They just, like you said, they just couldn't put it away when they needed to. Their defense did look really good up until but that's what good running backs do.
Washington looked good early.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what good running backs do when the game goes along. If if you're doing your job right as an offense, that running game gets harder and harder and harder to defend, and that's exactly what happened last night.
Yeah, I think if I was the owner, and I don't know why it bothers me because I know it's his trademark, and I guess it's because my dad, and I'm sure they'll tune in soon if they're not already, taught you to wear your hat correctly. I think, Dan, if you lose, you have to wear your hat forward next week. Dan
it is
Quinn.
a weird look.
It's almost like, hey, guys, I want to be cool. I'm with you guys. And my hat's backwards.
It doesn't work for him.
No.
It does not work at all.
It worked okay in the booth.
Yes.
But I think as the head coach, you've got to.
Yeah, you need
to
flip
But
it
then
around.
again, some people say, well, that's his trademark. Well, your trademark looks weird.
Yeah, I think he looks weird too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. So last night, the Eagles win 26-18 in Thursday Night Football at the NFL level. Couple things that are happening that I put in the rundown. NBA action. Klay Thompson. I know you said your boys have kind of gotten to where they like watching basketball, watching the Mavs. It was a pretty cool scene in the Bay Area as Klay Thompson made his return in a Mavs uniform. Had a big game, had a decent game, he and Luka, but it wasn't enough. And Steph kind of showed him up with 37 points as they lose 120-117. Do you like this? I'll start with you, Misty. Do you like when people come home and they give them the respect that they deserve, or should they be like, hey, you left us?
I think it depends on the player and just things that surrounded that player leaving. So for Thompson, I'm good with it. But I think it kind of just depends on the circumstances of the player. I mean, there's some players that you just, it's like Emmitt Smith for the Cowboys. Granted, that's a different situation, but like we just love him. Like there's no way we would ever boo him or, anything like that. But like, I don't know. I guess it just really depends. For me, in my opinion, everybody's different because it just depends on.
Test your research skills. Did Emmitt come back as a Cardinal? Did they play? I don't know this.
I don't know.
I don't think, yeah.
Would the Cardinals come back and play? Because at one time, the Cardinals and the Cowboys were in the same division.
Right, they were, which is always weird.
Yeah, it was the
research team on that.
It was the farthest west team that ever could be in the East of all time. I don't have a problem with it because I think a lot of times it's different if they move on. There was a breakup that was ugly.
Yeah,
right.
Clay's breakup was contract's up.
Yes.
I'm doing something different. You're not signing me. They will. And anyway, so that happened this past week. And the other thing I wanted to touch on, and I know we're not Cavalier fans and probably cannot name a Cavalier player since LeBron doesn't play there anymore. But the fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers have started 13-0 in the NBA, I think is very, very impressive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, any professional league, they're playing professional teams every single week. And so, yeah, no, I when you put that on there, I didn't realize that. Obviously, the last few years, I have not paid attention to the NBA until we're down to the finals. And so I had no idea that they were 13-0 starting the season. And so, yeah, shout out to them because that is very impressive.
And then
back to the previous. No, the Cowboys did not play the Cardinals in 2004. So no.
So Emmitt wouldn't have come back. Obviously, if that would have been the case, there'd have been a big jumbotron video for Emmitt if he walked in and played in the Cardinal uniform.
I mean, we love him.
Yes, I think those things are.
Oh wait, but they did it in 2003. So
he would have.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up that box score.
All right, there you go. So we're going to bring that box score back when we get a chance after this break. But again, that's our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Caitlin Clark played golf. I thought that was interesting. We'll talk about that. Again, college football, it's unbelievable the situation that we have. If it ended today, Georgia would be going to a regular bowl and not the playoffs. So very interesting. Again, that's our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Jam show today. Again, Coach Patterson, Maverick MacGyver, our second hour, along with Katie Alford, our celebrity guest picker. Tons to talk about. The Cowboys still on the struggle bus, but they know where the sun is. When we come back, what kind of game did Emmitt have against the Cowboys? And much more. We'll be back.
I forgot he was there for 2 years. I thought it was just one in my mind. And I looked back at this thing and I was like,
don't forget to mention Aberlin High. Give them a little, man, what a whooping. Like, holy
6
moly.
carries for -1 yard.
That's why I'm like, that's when I'm like, oh, there should be a mercy rule. Like, just stop the bleeding. Like, to me, that's just so sad. Like, that
Well,
is
so like
crazy.
San Angelo, Lakeview, they only had 4 teams in their district.
Mhm.
They made the playoffs.
Well, yeah, that's what happened when Ethan played there.
Uh,
It's just terrible. But like 84-0, golly.
Yeah.
I mean, you just feel sorry for those kids.
Listen to the Cowboys lineup
yeah, that's what I want.
for that game against Emmitt Smith. Quincy Carter, quarterback. Troy Hambrick led the team in rushing, with Terry Glenn, Joey Galloway, and Jason Witten being the starting receivers. That was a rough time for the Cowboys. Oh wait, it's still rough.
Yeah, sounds very familiar.
It's very 2024. Party like it's 1999. Nope, we're going to party like it's 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quincy Carter.
What's the starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Former Rough Rider.
Local bar patron.
I'm trying to
That's
decide.
funny because I would have watched that game, I'm sure, and I have zero memory of
Yeah, I
it
have
coming
no
back.
recollection of that.
But that was, remember back in those days, that wasn't long since the 3 Super Bowls. And it was kind of like when the Cowboys had first embraced the rebuild, Troy had retired just a few years before, then Emmett, obviously, and so that was right when you were in a rebuild, but you're like kind of okay with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. All right, the triplets got old, it's time to start over and gosh dang it, the wheels just never got put back on.
Real quick on this here.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm trying to figure out this Caitlin Clark thing won't take long, and we got a few people that posted some stuff that they did that was hard. But trying to transition into college football, but I want to have a little NFL talk with you while you're here. Which we could roll into the college football from the Caitlin Clark thing, touch base on the high school action that's happening tonight. Because at the bottom of the hour, we could do NFL, Missy's bag,
Yeah.
Katie.
And then by that time,
Because I think
people will be
8:15 or so, is that when you leave?
Yeah.
and is that, I thought that was changing.
Well, it's supposed to.
Okay, because I'm like, I'm so confused. I thought you were
No,
going to a
that-
different day of the week.
It's kind of funny because they put that in this Friday meeting and they said it's just going to be for a short period of time. They're really trying to push us in the Salesforce, the CRM that we've had but haven't used as diligently as like the new place wants us to. So they've been really that's really what we're working on. So it's kind of like you got to report what you put into Salesforce. It's just exhilarating, but so they put it in, and that meeting series expired in November, and they sent out a deal to cancel it, and I was like, oh, that's good. And then minutes later, got a new meeting that pushed it out, and it was 20 minutes earlier. But
Yeah, and then I've had today we have a birthday party for a coworker at 9. Where everything that we do, I feel like starts at 9. So I'm like,
We are bringing the action. Do you hear from the Tootsie Live studio, the Mall of Abilene? Be sure as Christmas is getting close, whether you like it or not, and you've got your stuff ready, head to the Mall of Abilene, get you some shopping in for your friends, family, and all those that you want to buy. But head over to the Mall of Abilene, our Potosi Live studio. We are here again. Don't forget, we're brought to you by Lytle Landing Cattle, where you can go get your Hodge Pack this weekend. Have a great meal. We talked this week in our Black Plumbing social media question. I don't know if y'all saw, and I thought of that. I'm sure, Misty, there's so many times you and Caitlin Clark come in the same thought process and being. But when I saw Caitlin Clark playing,
was funny. Her laugh made me giggle.
Yeah. But so this past week, Caitlin Clark was playing in an LPGA Pro-Am with Nelly Corda. And like anything else, there were a lot of people there to watch.
Yeah, she almost took some of their heads off
Yeah.
on one shot.
So I don't know if it was the first tee, just the next tee, but her shot looked like what many of those college kids are trying to kick the field goal for Pat McAfee. That's what it looked like. And she hooks it left. And I don't know if anybody got hit. But what was funny is two things about it. And so our Black Plumbing social media question was, what is something you did that ended up being way harder than you thought it might be? We'll read some of those in a minute. And again, Black Plumbing, Heating and Air, give them a call for your needs. But it made me think, one, I thought of you because you played golf with us.
And, we're both really great basketball players.
Amazing athletes.
Similar in stature.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But what was funny is she hit and pulled that thing left. And it wasn't go check and see if I hit anybody. Her hand was in her pocket getting the second ball like that.
Teeing it up.
I mean, she 10 cupped it real quick, like, hey, no big deal. And that she had done that before. A lot of people probably just keep one ball in their pocket because they're confident. No, she had plenty of balls in her pocket, I guess, ready to hit it. But you think about it, and so I'll ask you.
You gotta have the ball so you can go look for your other ball. Like, I found it.
Oh,
Yeah.
What ball are you hitting?
What's that one?
What is that?
That's it.
Yep, Callaway.
As I watched that, I was like, wow, this is so relatable to me.
Well, because it is. I mean, it is the sport where the ball doesn't move.
Yeah, so hard.
It's the ball that is there. It's set. Nobody throws it at you. And a
You're
lot
right,
of times,
right.
you get to. I mean, at least at the beginning, you get to place it exactly where you want.
Right. Set
To
your
start
feet
off,
where
yeah.
you want your feet to be.
It's
Yeah.
overthinking. It's the overthinking of it.
Well,
Well, I think
That's
part of,
crazy.
but I think the overthinking maybe, but I think the other part is some people that when they go to do it, it's kind of like skiing, in that they assume that it's not going to be that hard.
Oh, I was that person. Yeah.
And it's I mean, the ball's right there.
It's
And then,
actually really hard.
and then when you go to hit it, you realize, one, there's a lot of swing and miss, strike one.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't hit it well, and that the golf swing is so meticulous that one or two things movement wise causes that ball to kill somebody.
Oh well, exactly, because hitting the ball on the club face the same way every single time is almost impossible. I mean, it is impossible, but some people are much more consistent at it than others.
But you look, and there's a video. There's a video of Scotty Scheffler preparing and showing, and he's got his TrackMan, and somebody's there with him, and they're saying, "Okay, we're going to give you a club," and he gives him 8-iron. And before he hits it, he calls his distance. He doesn't call his shot; he calls his distance. And Scotty Scheffler gets within a yard or a point of how far he hits that 8-iron, and nails it every time. But you look at even then, we see pros have bad days on the golf course. And every once in a while, you might see that. Steph Curry might have a cold shooting night. But for the most part, Steph Curry's shooting motion is probably the exact same every time.
right.
And it's amazing on how hard golf is. And so Caitlin Clark admitted golf is hard. So some of our answers were Ryan Lewis. I think they just got a little funny, but beating Mike Breckenridge in golf. I mean, still, I beat him, but it was harder than I thought it would be. And then, of course, Mike Breckenridge was real quick to say, why you got to bring up old emoji, and I'll let you, it looks like a chocolate swirl. It looks like a chocolate swirl that you might get at a dip cone. Anyway, That was like 20 years ago, and it happened once, maybe twice. I love how we just got a great conversation going on about how hard it was to beat Mike Breckenridge in golf. Don Connell says probably wasn't that hard. Ryan Lewis, well, I feel like we're in a courtroom. Ha ha. Just had an opportunity to poke the bear, so I took it. I'm sure I'll get paid back soon.
Well, I'm glad that they had some fun conversation and like you mentioned, the kick that they do on game day every Saturday, where you get $100,000 or whatever it's up to now if you make.
Well, it keeps going up. Like
it keeps going up.
Mostly that first one's missed, so it gets like to $250. The guy last week was kicking for $250,000 or $300,000 on top of some big donor or company was matching it, and like the relief fund was going to be. It was like a $500,000. Yeah,
and he missed that about as poorly as you could miss a kick, and to the whole point of what Pat McAfee was talking about is like kicking is hard, and you pick these people that are like, oh, I can do that. And you're kicking off a tee and don't have to have the timing and all the stuff that actually goes into actually kicking a field goal.
Well,
so,
and this is a kind of a humble brag because it's
if you say it's a humble brag, it's no longer humble.
Yeah. Well, no offense, Misty, but you mentioned that one of the things that I always wonder, and again, we talked last week about Kirk Herbstreit's dog Ben passing away, and I'd sent him a text, and he actually texted back this morning, so that was kind of cool. But
that video was so sad.
Oh, on game day,
oh my
it was
gosh,
awesome.
I was bawling.
Yeah. Well, you saw the emotion when they brought it to Kirk to even talk.
And when he lost it, I was like, oh my gosh.
They went straight to the video.
Yeah.
But my point is, kicking's the other one. But I'm always wondering, like Kirk, how many of you, Josh, and I know you've done this, and maybe even Misty growing up in Robert Lee and y'all playing football, and you held it for somebody and they kicked the crud out of you.
Kick your hand. Yeah.
I'm like, Kirk, how do you trust these slaps that are about to try to kick
right.
and that your finger doesn't get kicked? So kicking the football, I think that's a good one. Shane Bramlett, old classmate of mine, just golf in general. Having a daughter after two sons is a huge different challenge as well. Randy Burson, when I was in college, I tried my hand at riding bareback horses in the rodeo. Not as easy as the professionals make it look. And then Matt Bell said, I grew up playing tennis, but pickleball has been harder and still lacking skills. Pickleball has been harder than he thought it would be. So what's something, I agree, kicking a football, I think I could kick I used to be able to kick a 35-yarder. I don't know if I could today, or 33-yarder. What's something you think?
Money on it.
You got 100K? Let's go. Misty, is there something that you would fall into that category?
I mean, obviously, definitely golf, but I agree with Randy. I am not a good horseback rider. I'm just this person. I'm bouncing. I try to get my legs really tight, and
So how many horses are you riding? You're saying
it's like.
Well, she said it like I've done it a few times this week, and it just didn't. It was a lot harder than I thought.
I mean,
auditioning for Yellowstone.
I mean, I consider myself to be fit-ish. I think my legs are decently strong, and then I get on a horse and they are not. I cannot get around it, and I'm just bouncing around. I don't know.
Maybe we can find one of those quarter horse machines outside the supermarkets.
Yeah, you can practice.
I can do those, but the real one, and just
quarter horse.
Y'all would not be able to relate to this, but all of our female listeners, bouncing back from having a baby or babies, the body is just an amazing thing, but the soreness, you can imagine any workout that you've been sore, that times 100 for a month straight is the recovery of having a child.
This segment took a really weird turn.
But just saying,
that impedes our horseback riding ability.
Well, for those of you that are, those that are thinking about having a kid, talk to Misty.
I'm just saying, you're gonna be sore for a couple of weeks.
I'm gonna leave both of those alone.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, so last night high school football happened, and
it did.
In El Paso, Parkland feels like they rode a horse that was not very. Rode a horse with hemorrhoids. Lost 84-0. Abilene High wins. It was 70-0 at half, I believe, is what I was told by my insider, Misty.
Yes.
And that they ran the clock.
Yeah, the old nonstop clock.
Yeah. Well, but you think about it, and we
it's so sad.
Well, it is bad.
No.
Yeah, you can. But while you're in the huddle,
The
talking
clock's-
on the clock's going to run.
clock's gonna run.
And honestly, El Paso, we're doing this for you as a favor because, that's the thing in 5A, you get to host. And so El Paso came here. El Paso is coming here for the Wiley game tonight. Abilene Cooper got 4th, and Abilene Cooper lost last night, 63-35 to El Paso Del Valle last night. So Abilene Cooper's season comes to an end. Abilene Highs keeps going. Wiley plays El Paso Andrews tonight at home. It's a white out, they said. They're actually wearing white jerseys at home, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah, it is unusual.
And so they'll try to Penn State and white out the Hugh Sanford Stadium tonight. But this is where it all starts. I mean, Holly and Stanford last week played. Stanford getting the best of Holly. Note to self, when you do picks, I was confused. I thought with Holly being second on the list, I thought they were playing at home. They weren't. They were playing at Stanford.
Well, that was a mistake that I
But
was.
did y'all-
I read that they were at home, so the app that I used was incorrect.
Did y'all see? I don't know if y'all hope y'all follow Big Country Blitz on Facebook, Cody Coyle. But did you see what Stanford had to do to get the field ready?
No.
They had squeegees. They were pumping water off, and then they brought a helicopter in to dry the field.
Oh, wow. That's when you know football is important in West Texas when you're bringing a copter on.
100%. But so it all starts tonight. They start, I guess, last night with the high school playoffs. Stanford and Holly probably on a collision course to meet again. And so a lot of fun stuff. Keep those coming in. One of the things that you think that is harder than you think. We also threw out one, and we come back. What is something that you still get nervous about when you do, even though you've done it before and you feel like you're kind of good at it? That's what I sent that text to y'all earlier in the week. But Caitlin Clark and Misty, so much alike in so many ways. And be careful for horses and get ready to bounce back from having babies. When we come back, college football, right after this. Well, all I could think of is when you said something about being really sore, and I thought you meant from riding a horse. And then ironically, being sore from having a baby could be in the same areas.
I didn't think about that. I was like,
what are we doing?
I'm just saying, all of our female listeners that are moms totally relate. Totally relate. Oh. I'm just saying, like the soreness, it takes a couple of days. That's all I'm saying. You need water.
No, I need a toothpick, but I don't know.
Josh, there are waters in there. There are waters in there.
What's up, Lynn? How's everybody doing? What's something you guys that are watching put in the chat box that you do that is tough? That you thought was easy?
Did you find one?
No.
What are you looking for?
Paperclip.
Oh,
Not working.
What are you looking for?
A toothpick.
And some sausage stuck?
Yeah, some sausage stuff.
Never good at having that sausage
I'm
stuck.
not even gonna.
Oh, yeah, you won't go there, but you go straight to the moon.
Yeah. Funny. This sweater is giving like Grinch. I love it.
I was thinking little Grinch, little leather pants. Morning, Dad. I think Tracy and I are going to go to Stephenville Saturday and watch the OACU Tarleton game. Are y'all going to watch Mike Tyson tonight?
Yes, I want to.
So is it free on Netflix?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know. I didn't know if it had a pay-per-view function.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. Who do y'all think's gonna win?
I hope Tyson knocks him
I hope
out.
Tyson wins too.
I hope Tyson treats him like Allen on The Hangover, honestly. Just, hey. And everybody will be able to say, he still got it.
Yeah, I know. I would love just like a one punch.
He still got it.
One punch KO.
Still
He
got
still got it.
Stu's like, no, but he still got it. Help is on the way.
The first Hangover is like still, in my opinion, like so funny. Like it's so dumb, but I don't know. The second one, no, but the first one, I don't know. It's just so
Tracy
funny.
actually liked the second one.
Really.
What I liked, 1 and 2 both had their funny moments.
I like the first one better.
Let me rephrase it. 2 had some funny moments to make it good.
Yeah, I mean
But
it was fine.
All right, so what are you drinking?
Alani.
Is that an energy drink?
It's a kind of
I want to get with Derek. I think they carry that. I'm not going to drink it, but
that it tastes like a purple Skittle.
Cosmic Stardust. That sounds like a never mind.
Cosmic Stardust.
I'm not
It
going to tell
goes
you
with
what that.
Miss Cinnamon.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
Y'all
with.
know it's almost time for that side cash.
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
is coming.
Christmas is coming.
Remember our side hustles? We've had that question before. What would your name
Mine
be?
would not be
Fuzzy
Daisy.
Wuzzy.
Fuzzy
I
Wuzzy.
still remember.
Yeah. I'd
Fuzzy.
forgotten about that until you brought it up.
Jingle, drinking the jingle juice or whatever it was.
I forgot to get on that. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. We're glad that you're with us. Lots going on. Again, high school football playoffs kicked off last night. Abilene High winning 84-0. Abilene Cooper, unfortunately, losing to El Paso del Valle 63-35. Wiley will be playing tonight against El Paso Andrus, and of course, the rest of the big country kicking everything off tonight. Saw again, I officiated last night in Lakeview. One of the junior highs that feed into Lakeview played Craig, and was officiating that game. And Lakeview got in as the 4th seed, and they get Stephenville tonight. So
The 4th seed is kind of
the 4th seed, in districts that are big enough. Like I think the district.
well, no, there are some that can field a decent 4th seed, but a lot of them can't. You know,
All right, we're
and
going to
that's
talk.
just-
We're talking college still, but keep going.
Well, no, I'm just. It's just. I don't. I mean, getting beat in a playoff game, 84-0, just is something that probably shouldn't happen.
No, it's
You know,
terrible.
and I don't know how you differentiate. You know, because the team, from what I was told, and like I said, I don't even know how to read a schedule to see who's at home, but you know, the team like didn't win a game and was in the playoffs. You know, I mean, that's just.
There are to be.
Those kids are gonna get hurt.
Well, they got hurt mentally, emotionally.
Right, but physically, like it's just not. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, if you're 0-10 and you go to the playoffs, you're not excited about that.
No,
I mean,
No.
you're not like, oh yeah, let's make a run. You know, like,
And
nope, let's go get our tail handed to us, and then we can move on.
And I don't know who the people are, used to. When I was coaching, and now there's a lot of T-shirt places now. But when I was coaching, you called Gandy Inc. to get your playoff T-shirts. Do you sell playoff T-shirts that say 0-10?
Yeah. Because usually you have like district champ or district runner up. That used to be the only way you got into the playoffs. You know, so now you're like 4th place in district 0-10. Like, huh? I don't know. It just seems like
0-10, back again.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know.
Which rhymes.
There are those teams are better than that, but I feel like for the most part, it's kind of, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I know.
But you know, that's not my decision.
No, and so for example, in the high school world, in District 3, which I forgot, can't do that on here, so dumb. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to college football.
All right.
But my point is, some districts are really good. Like the District 3 5A, District 3 5A Division 2 has Argyle, Colville Heritage, some other teams that are really good. And it's like I think in that district there was 5 teams ranked in the top 25. Well, it's not like in the college football, which is a great transition segue, is what we call it in radio, is all 5 of those that are in the top 25 or in the top 12 can get in, even though they didn't win. In high school, El Paso Parkland goes, and one of those top 25 teams are out.
Yeah,
they're out.
Yeah.
So, but we do have college football playoffs. The new rankings came out. The rankings right now, the college football playoff rankings, which is interesting on how they have it listed, but because the way the brackets are set, it wouldn't be. Number 1, Oregon. All right, tell you what, we'll play a little game here. You can say Buzz, or you can just say should not be there. When I'm going to go through these, say no if you think they should not be where they're at. We'll see who wins between Missy and Josh. Oregon, number 1. All right. No.
What means yes? What means yes?
Yeah, that'll work. Ohio State, number 2.
Yes.
Texas, number 3.
Yes.
Penn State, number 4.
I think they'll fall.
So I'm going to go that first no. Indiana's got to be ticked off at number 5 at 10-0.
Well, at least this week those rankings changed where they bumped up Indiana and BYU, that were both undefeated teams, went up in the rankings quite a bit. So BYU 6, I don't have a problem with that. Tennessee 7, don't have a problem with that. Notre Dame 8, Miami losing, going to 9. Alabama destroying LSU at 10. Ole Miss beating Georgia relatively decent. And then Georgia number 12 and Boise State 13. But even though you see that at Georgia number 12, Georgia would be out because Boise State is the highest ranked non-Power 4 conference team. They would be elevated to number 12. And then it finishes out SMU and A&M at 14 and 15. Of course, the rest of them, Colorado. Who would have thought? BYU, Big 12. K-State, Big 12. Colorado, Big 12. I mean, check out the teams that are kind of making some noise. And, of course, Colorado, the big win last week at Tech. So what was your recap of last week? I'll start with Take It or Trash It. We're going to do Take It or Trash It here. Okay. College football?
Yes. Take it or trash it. Georgia will be left out of the college football playoff.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You think they're going to be left out?
I mean, I think it depends. A lot depends on this Tennessee game.
So you could trash it. You could say trash it in that they're going to win.
I mean,
and I know we got picks coming.
They're just not. They came in as an elite team. They're not looking very elite. I mean,
Carson Beck has not been very good.
No, he is not. See, I think this is set up. Like you look at like you mentioned, K-State and Colorado hanging in there, just out of the top 12. They have to play each other, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Say that again.
K-State and Colorado do play each other, or is
no?
It'd
be the Big 12.
It'd be
only in the Big 12 championship.
Okay. No, they play Kansas. That's the other ones on their schedule. Sorry, I looked at Colorado's schedule, but I didn't commit it all to memory. But so those teams are there where they can win a big game and be like kind of back into the swing, I guess. And that's one of those things that is very interesting as far as these rankings. And that's why I think these weekly rankings coming out matter so much, because you then just become that ranking. So
well, you start understanding what people care about. But I'm the one, because what's crazy, if this was the old system, Penn State would be in and Indiana would be out. And maybe they would look at it differently because obviously there's a lot more football left to be played. But you're seeing, if you're moving and you're doing this number, you don't know where you're going to be. And for a place like here, you've got Penn State would be in today.
Right, but that's where, and
I do not think they should be.
No, I don't, and that's why I think these rankings matter, because these teams will play, and then the teams will be able to say, like, well, I beat number 4, I beat number 5, whatever that number might be, which then strengthens that resume. It then kind of becomes incestuous because you just build your resume off of building other people that maybe had an inflated resume. But because it's also interesting that, like, SMU was off last week and dropped in the rankings.
And SMU and Harry Douglas, again, former guest of the show, download, subscribe, rate, review. Can't download that one because it didn't record. But anyway, Harry's been on.
He has.
Swear.
There's no proof, but
the funny thing is if it ended today in the same realm, SMU would be they lead the ACC right now. So if it was today, they're even outside not only the 12, they're 14, and they would be in the college football playoff based on the bracket because they lead the ACC right now.
Yeah, they'd be the conference champion, even though
Yes.
Miami's got a conference loss. SMU does not.
It is wild. And then you look at the strength of schedule, some of these teams, I'm like, oh. It's just insane.
So do you have a take it or trash it for college?
Oh, gosh. What if we take it or trash it, do away with preseason rankings until week 5 for college football?
I would take that because, like I just said, I believe that the rankings become their own, like,
Animal?
well, yes. I mean, because I always go back to this several years ago. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the big first kickoff game of the year was Texas A&M in South Carolina, but like this was several years ago.
Oh, I was going to say this year Texas A&M kicked off with Notre Dame.
No. It was a similar type situation. But this is my whole point about this is those two teams came in the first of the year, both ranked in the top 25. If I remember correctly, it doesn't even matter. One of them beat the other one. I'm not going to try to get into details because it's been too long. But one of them beat the other one and propelled themselves up into the top 10. And then by the end of the year, had lost 5 games.
Right. Exactly.
And it was all just because preseason rankings, they were both ranked in the top 25. One of them gets like now they're number 8 or whatever the case may be.
Well,
at the end of the year, they're like a has-been.
We're kind of seeing that right now with Georgia. Like they came in hot, and everybody was like, "I had them hot," and then look at them right now.
But I do. I agree. I'll
There's no way it's going to happen.
I will tash. I will tash it. I will tash it.
No, you have to pick.
I will tash it, and this is why I say that. It's kind of like, and even though they all run the same race, but if you've ever been in one of those staggered track races, I'm sure you weren't in a whole lot of 800s.
No, it's not.
No offense, but I don't see
Wow.
you being that. Yes or no? How many 800 were you, man?
I ran one time.
One time. That's
one
your
running
problem.
event in my entire.
One running event, not
He's
even
like,
800.
that tracks.
So, but my point is you get staggered and you feel like if you're up in lane 7, man, I got a big lead.
Yeah,
I'm going to win it. But you're still running the same amount of 800, 2 laps regardless. And that's kind of what the rankings are. You get this elevated head start, if you will, that looks like, hey, I'm starting at number 1, like Georgia. And as long as I take care of business and stay in my lane, if you will, I'm going to get all the way around and stay in my spot. But what happens is the race becomes tough. Man, this is a great illustration. The race becomes tough. Rain starts coming in on that second lap, and then next thing you know, you fall.
Are we in church right
I
now?
don't know.
We're about to pass. We're about to pass the plate. But yes, I think the rankings later on. But again,
So week 5, would you say, is how many weeks in?
I do think it would change how the whole system worked if they didn't vote on rankings till a certain time, because then you would actually see the teams on the field and it not just be hypothetical, because someone beats the hypothetical number 5 team the first week of the season, and now like that they're jumped up in the rankings, but then that preseason number 5 ends up losing 4 or 5 games. If you looked back at it, then that other team wouldn't have jumped 10 spots in the rankings for beating them.
I just think they should try it. Let's just try it once. Let's just see what
tell you
changes.
During the break,
I'll make a phone call. We'll get it changed for next year.
During the break, we'll give Kirk a call and see what he has to say. Hey, lots to talk about, lots of college football this week, and we got picks coming up. Katie offered to kick off hour number 2, but when we come back, we'll open up Misty's Bag.
Wow, good. How are you? Just getting preached at.
Yeah.
Some people need it.
It is. I had to like write this down because the whole Georgia Tennessee situation. Who do y'all think's gonna win that game?
I think Georgia, it's at home.
I'm picking Tennessee.
Because Tennessee beat Bama. I mean, if you're looking at like Ole Miss, Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss didn't play Bama or Tennessee. Tennessee beats Bama. Bama and Ole Miss have beat Georgia. Like, it's insane. Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
But I will tell you,
with the rankings.
it's another prime example, though, on that even this system isn't perfect. Because, yes, they struggle. But you can't tell me, because we saw Georgia do what they did to Texas, that Georgia's not one of the best teams in the country.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And you look at and again, it has to go back to strength of schedule. Like, it just has to at some point. Like, some of these other teams are just such a, like Josh and I were talking about it in the tunnel, such a cakewalk. And then, yeah, I mean, the SEC they have a hard game every week. It's like they're getting, and these other teams, it just, at some point, you do have to put them in.
The Big 12's becoming harder.
Well, the Big 12 is too, but
Now, I think a lot of that is
SEC
because
every
nobody's
week.
good.
Every week. But it is going to be interesting if Georgia beats Tennessee. Or Tennessee beats Georgia. I mean, both ways. I don't know. This week is crazy.
Are you a Deion fan?
She does not want Colorado in.
But I did pick Colorado. I've never been a Dallas Cowboys fan. And so, did you try for Dallas Cowboys like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what did you have an NFL team?
Oh yeah, 49ers. I was a Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So then I'm picking Chiefs because,
He played for
I
them.
play for the Chiefs. And Chiefs are doing pretty good. So
Got one more little segment in there.
I have Joe Montana jersey.
This question today came from a listener.
Oh, you had the book. I thought
I was going to do one from the book, but then a listener texted me and was like, "Hey, I think this would be a good question."
The book came in handy. We were driving to Plainview last Friday. Andy was driving. And,
Oh, fun, yeah.
And so on the way up, he's like, all right, let's get some conversation going because I'm on a long day at school or whatever. And so we just started randomly going went through the ones I knew and then tried to guess the ones that I hadn't read yet.
Yeah, it is. I kind of flagged some that I thought would be like good debate between us, but yeah, I always bring it just in case. But then like I said, I had a listener text me, so I will do this one.
It is time for the Hodge Pack, and it is time for one of our favorite segments. We're glad that you're with us again. Washington loses last night to Philly 26-18. Maybe they should have had more plays in their bag of tricks, like Misty's.
So speaking of mulligans, tonight you can watch, we talked about this earlier, Paul versus Tyson tonight, live on Netflix, which we talked about this. We don't know if it's pay-per-view. I don't really know what's happening, but it doesn't matter because you can get on out to 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive, go to Mulligan's. They're going to have it on 15 TVs. It's not going to be streamed is what they say. And so you better call and make a reservation. They will take that. Highly encouraged because it's going to be a busy night at Mulligan's. So get on out there and watch the fight. Who do y'all have real quick? Tyson all the way?
That's who I'm rooting for.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win? Do you think Tyson still has it?
If he can land a punch, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's what kind of movement does he have to make sure. And I was listening again, watching Unsportsmanlike. Apparently, one of the other Paul brothers is in the WWE. I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't follow a lot of boxing or street fighting or whatever this is.
Street fighting.
Dungeons and Dragons. No, I don't know. No, I'm hoping Mike Tyson knocks him out. Like I said, I hope he knocks him out like he did Allen on Hangover. And then somebody just go, hey, he still got it.
Yes,
That's
that
what I
would be
want there.
great. You know that meme would go crazy if that happens. Josh, who you got in the fight?
Mike Tyson, just for throwback's sake.
For Nintendo reasons.
For
Yes.
nostalgia.
Yes.
Do you even know the other guy?
No, not until this came up, and I have seen random stuff on like social media.
Yeah.
Like never heard of him.
Okay, this always comes up, and we can even ask Katie this later. And I know it's weird because that means that he'd be hitting two men and two women. But what dollar amount would it take for you to take a punch from Mike Tyson at 58 or whatever?
No, there's no way. Like, he would demolish my entire face. There's just no amount of money that would fix it. I don't think so.
So you're saying no money at
I
all?
would
Wow.
not take a punch from like.
It'd be hard to come up with a dollar figure that.
Yeah, no way. Like, I've only got one face like this. No, you can't mess this up. No way.
58 years old? No. Josh? No.
I mean, no. Because,
Wow.
well, we talked about golf and how hard that is, and kicking field goals and things like that. I mean, there's something to actually knowing how to box and
I don't think
taking a punch and no.
Oh wow.
Would you?
Oh, it'd have to be like a
Look,
crap
he's
load
like
of money.
excited. He's
He's
like,
fine
yes.
if his brain bounces around in his head a little bit.
It's already
It's
shake,
already
rattled, and
there.
rolled.
Oh.
But you'd have to set it up and to do it where huge amount of money, but plus
Plus
any-
a GoFundMe to fix my face.
plus a medical team, like 30 million,
30
and,
million.
and
Ooh,
and-
30 million.
and you have to take care of my Hendrick bill.
Yeah.
Plus, all right, Misty,
Yeah.
go ahead and
Okay.
ask your question.
All right. So this question comes from Kaylee Hallmark, who I used to work with. She texted me this. So, what celebrity would be the worst and best? So, basically, on a 16-hour flight. So, who would be the best person to sit next to on a 16-hour flight? Worst celebrity, best celebrity is what she would like to know.
Huh.
Because we've all been on flights.
Well, I've not ever been anywhere where the celebrities sit.
No.
I don't have very many celebrities
So you,
flying
have to, so you have to
coach.
sit by them for 16
Well, imagine
hours.
you've been upgraded to first class
Upgrade.
for this hypothetical.
The worst would probably be. This is a tough one. Good job.
I know. It's a good job, Kaylee.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of thoughts on this. That, like, some people I think would just be like insufferable. Just like mainly with like their maybe their agendas, their political views, things like that. I could probably think of a lot of people I wouldn't want to listen to.
I wouldn't
But-
want to be on a 16-hour flight with the person that didn't win last Tuesday.
Like anybody on The View.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
want to be
Yes.
next to
Yeah.
them. Like,
The whole
Yeah.
yes.
That
yeah.
would be. But
That's
but
that's
the
it. Yeah.
thought, and I mean, and God rest his soul, and I'm not sure how, like what we would talk about, but could you imagine talking to Gilbert Gottfried for 16 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That
with,
voice would be rough.
Yeah,
That
just,
voice would be rough. Yeah.
all excited and like the whole time.
Yeah. that'd
It'd
a
be
tough
funny
one.
at first,
Oh yeah.
but you might get tired of it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I think Adam Sandler would be a fun ride for 16 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he would, because he, you could talk about things and hear all this funny, different voices and characters and all that. I think, I don't know, that's a pretty good one. I'm trying to think of somebody that would be fun to listen to, like to soak in some knowledge for 16 hours. Who that would be, like, man, just keep talking. Yeah. I could hear you talk. The wisdom that you would get for 16 hours. So you got worse as Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, just based on just how his voice was in general. But the best, someone that could just, because I'm trying to think the same thing, like someone that you'd actually like to. I'd probably have to go with somebody in sports related, so I could just hear stories. Like who would it be though? Well, I could probably go with Nolan Ryan.
Right.
His snow monkey story is hilarious.
Yes. Do you think you could handle like it's funny you mention this because again, I bring up unsportsmanlike on ESPN that they do. It's their weekly morning show or daily morning show. And on Wednesdays, they do an ESPN celebrity personality draft each week, and they change the category. Like, who would be somebody you would want to barbecue with? This past week was, who would you want to go and have happy hour with? So this would be one of those. And I thought about some of them. Like, I like Dan Orlowski. I think Dan would be a fun person to be around. Do you have yours? Hang on. We're going to pause for station identification real quick, and then you can give yours.
KLGB Stanford, Abilene, 106.9 FM, where real country music lives.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's tough because I was kind of thinking like MJ I really like Michael Jordan. So I was like, maybe I could sit next to him and hear all the different stories about his trash talking days and all of his accolades. So I really like Michael Jordan. Worst, don't put me next to anybody on The View ever, the political or not. Like, I just can't stand any of them. So don't put me on the View. But yeah, I think I would go like MJ. Maybe I think I'd sit next to Jordan for 16 hours.
How many people do you think today would say a Yellowstone character?
There's probably a lot. I don't know. I mean, Kevin Costner wouldn't be bad. I could sit next to Kev for 16 hours. I mean, there's so many. Like, this is a hard question.
It is a very hard question.
There's really, you could go so many ways. I could sit next to Caitlin Clark. We were talking about her earlier and just picking her brain. I mean, there's just, and which way do you go? Kim Mulkey's absolutely wild. Like, it probably has so many crazy stories, just a ton of people. But I think my number one, I would probably go MJ.
I will tell you, since you brought up, unfortunately, the one that's passed away that you wouldn't want to hang out with, one that if I would be could bring back to life and fly with, would be John Wooden or Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
I think sitting next to them,
that would be
that would be the 16 hours of wisdom from one John Wooden, and then wisdom with the splash of rated R from Bobby Knight. Those would be two pretty good ones.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't say like Tiger or I don't know with your.
I would be a big fan of Flight with Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah,
Tell me what it was like to
Scotty
be in
would be
jail.
I mean, yeah.
Scotty would be a good
changed him.
one. Scotty would be a good one. But definitely, I would not want to be on a flight with anybody that.
I'd like to be next to The Rock also. I'm a fan of The Rock.
I would want to be sure, because I thought about like the I was thinking some of those big like wrestler, big old people like that. Like, do we have enough room? Because I don't want anybody up all rolling into my seat. Which again, I know we got to go to commercial and we got to do our picks. Speaking of flying, do y'all think that the thing that should have been invented is the two armrest? Because if you think about the armrest on a plane or in a movie,
share it.
the movie theater is different now because you got the big one. But like, if you think about it, if you're on the window, you've got one, your left is to yourself or your right, whichever one's up against the window. But then you're kind of still sharing with the middle. And then if you're on the aisle side, and I know Katie flies a lot and y'all that fly, if you're the outside guy, you got one arm that's to yourself. But everything else you're sharing. And it's like, do you call it like shotgun? Hey, I got it. Shotgun. I get both arms. It's just.
No, it is very strange.
They never thought about that. They should have made a 2-arm armrest.
And just put a little bit of space in between each seat. You can
more
still
space, less money. You can't do it.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Right.
You don't think you could do that with here?
No, because if you spread that out just a little bit, then the aisle's not wide enough to get the cart down. I mean, it ruins the whole thing.
If we had a segment,
That's why you got to pay for first class, Hodge. Then you have your armrest.
Well, there you go.
And
Or
the seat
like
kicks
a
back.
sleep pod.
Well, the seat kickback again. If we ever start a segment, we may do this after football. What grinds my gears? That's one of those things.
Yes.
Is like the seat that moves back. Your host. If somebody decides, you know what, I'm going to sleep on this 5-minute flight. Here, there is no table. What do they call that?
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Oh my gosh.
Table, yeah.
The tray?
Little tray, yeah.
Yeah,
tray.
put your trays in the upright
Upright
position. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't. It's already here. I can't undo it. It's like trying to get that those Murphy beds or whatever they call that was in the wall.
And do you
Trying to
feel
put it back.
guilty?
Did
It's
you
like
fold up?
they
Right.
came back, and then I'm like, oh, I really want to go back, but then I feel bad for going back.
Yeah,
because
that's
they
not.
went back on
That's
me.
what you don't want to pay forward.
It's so
That's one thing you
terrible.
don't pay forward because it wears me out. So yes, I would love to fly with Scotty Scheffler, nobody from the View, maybe Bobby Knight and John Wooden. John's
So
not
what-
flying with Gilbert Godfrey. Love to fly with Nolan, Caitlin Clark. Nobody in the Views on this plane. But our next plane is going to be picking games and see. We'll see who Katie wants to fly with or not fly with. We'll be back right after this.
I think that's the first Misty's bag we've all agreed on in terms of the worst. Normally
Yeah,
we're,
the
but
movie.
yeah, and maybe it's because of the most recent political stuff. The View has been so bad. I don't either. Yeah, take politics out, and I still am not a fan.
I heard somebody say yesterday they were going to try to bring somebody conservative back to the show. We're like, nobody likes everybody.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it is
mental
terrible.
problems after it's done.
Or actually, if you want to sit, you can sit here. Josh and I always, so we'll do picks next, and then Josh and I will go over here. We always pull this chair. But yeah, I mean, you know how that show is still going. I did see that two of them got into it the other day. I think one of them's name is like Sunny or something, and
I remember what Cameron, not Cameron,
she was getting into it with her.
his sister.
Oh, Canvas.
Yes.
Yeah, wasn't she on it for a little bit?
Yeah, and I
So
think,
was
one of them.
I thought Matt Hasselback's wife was
Yes,
on there,
Elizabeth. She used to be on there.
but she was a conservative.
She used to be on there years ago, and then yeah,
They said that
To me,
they
you're
would have
dumb.
mental problems.
You're almost dumb not to have some type of conservative that have true.
But they get,
Yeah.
they don't play fair.
they don't. They really don't. It's really quite nasty. It's a nasty show. The sweater is like giving me Grinch, Grinch vibes. I put it on and I left, and I was like, I'm a little Grinchy today with the black and the green, but
It's nice
I'm-
and warming.
it is. I know.
It's James.
Oh really? Oh, how funny! We see her every week.
Oh, really?
Yes, every
That's
week.
funny. Janice
That's so
Allen,
funny.
Bob Allen's wife.
I didn't
She
know
is
that.
the one that
She's here every time.
She was the one.
Yes.
I was telling her. She moved to me.
Yes. How funny.
she was the one that was at. Remember when I told you that was at the pub at Fairway?
Yes.
She was the one that I went and said hi to because she goes and she sits in the same table every time, and nobody ever talks to her. So I'm like, pretty sure that's anyway. And I didn't know that was her until I introduced myself. And I told her we've been joking about having a mall walker come in and talk.
Yes.
So that Friday she was here. She did not make eye
Yeah,
contact in
I
here
know.
because I think she was afraid somebody was going to ask her to come in.
There's this one guy, he has a Texas Ranger hat most of the time, and he's my favorite. I don't know him, but he's just like so sweet looking and just like.
I love that they opened them all that early.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's always there's a good amount, and obviously with
And
it
it
getting
keeps
colder,
growing.
yeah, it's fun.
That is true. As it gets colder, more people come in here.
Yes.
So I was looking at your list. I think we're only off on one.
Oh yeah.
Tennessee
I
and
did not
Georgia.
do well last week on my picks.
I'm just hoping Colorado doesn't mess it up.
Like it was not good. Did you see how very high they beat that El Paso team 84-0?
Oh, I saw they won that into what the score
It
was.
was
84 to
70-0 at half. I know. I was like, that is so sad. Well, and I'm like, surely the third string kids were in. I mean, you know, for A high, but like still, I'm just like, oh wait.
I just want to know, how do you not score? Because in basketball, I guess you can pass it around,
Just sad.
but if you break a run, are you more embarrassed that the people stopped scoring than if they kept scoring?
That just-
I mean, 84 points in a 6-man game isn't terrible.
no.
But when it's 6, the other thing is if it was 84-0, it wouldn't have got to that because it had stopped at 45.
I know. I'm just like,
Some of those El Paso teams are so bad. Like in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Well, they were 0-10. They were 0-10
But they make it to the playoffs.
because there was 4 teams.
I'm just like, those poor kids, like, you're going to get like hurt.
Like you are,
not even seeing.
maybe
the
they
field.
were trying to see how many points they could let the other team.
Right? School record.
We're going to be in a wreck at some point.
School record.
That's funny.
We'll talk a little foundation.
Oh,
We'll talk a little foundation stuff, your day, and then how people can get involved.
yeah. Jason was asking me, "Where's it at?" I said, "It's at the mall." It's at the mall.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh no, it's better than where." Oh yeah, way
A lot better than what it used to be.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
Oh, you didn't know? Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, Sports Live and everything in between as we kick off hour number 2, brought to you by not Coleman County Electric Co-op, but Coleman County State Bank, making sure we do all those things instead of Idaho and Iowa and all that. But check out, yeah, remember that? Anyway,
I do
check
remember that.
check them out for your banking needs. It is time where we bring in somebody to pick, and so far, no pressure, but Josh said it early in the show that our last 2 celebrity pickers have done well.
Very, very well.
So, but joining us, she's been on as a guest. Her kids have been on as a guest. Her future son-in-law's been on as a guest, and now this is Katie's opportunity from Community Foundation to be a guest picker. And so, how much studying have you done?
Probably about 30 minutes.
Ironically, that's about how much we've done. Some of us circle it when we get here. And so, Katie, again, what's your official title at Foundation?
President and CEO.
All right, Community Foundation. Of course, Katie's been on to talk about. Lynn Lawhon said Condoleezza Rice. I don't know if that's he wants to fly with her or don't. Text Lynn, see what he wants to say. I bet Lynn would want to fly with Condoleezza. Yeah.
Yes.
And Lynn's a loyal watcher and listener. So, Katie's been on to talk about Abilene Gives, and again, just our kids been on his tennis and all that. But you had a big week this week as your annual luncheon, and how hard is it finding the moving stories to pluck the hearts of folks in the audience?
Actually, it's not that hard. I think we have so many great stories. It's sometimes hard to narrow them down and
Right.
to.
That is probably the hard part.
Yeah, but you also are trying to think about the impact story from the donor's perspective, from the legacy it's leaving behind, to the nonprofit it's benefiting, to the person the nonprofit's benefiting. So there's kind of 3 levels of stories. And this year actually we had that 4th with the professional advisor of how does a professional advisor play the role in helping a client become a donor and figure out their charitable legacy. So there's always kind of a theme and kind of how do we fit all these stories into that theme.
Well, and you've got a big time because you're expanding and you're hitting 40th year of giving back and doing all those things. And so kind of a big time for the foundation.
Yeah, I mean, we just continue to grow, and that just makes it, a lot of times people think you're worried about the assets, like how much an asset, you're only focusing on how much money you have. But actually, as your assets grow, your grants grow. And so that's what was the great part of the story this year, is that we granted out $19 million last year. And so as we continue to grow, the grants grow, the impact grows.
And so understand, folks, when that happens, more people in Abilene and the big country are being benefited and helped. And you hear it every May about Abilene Gives and how many nonprofits are in town. I serve on the board for one, and there's a number of others that from the co-op and personally a part of that need those things to happen, because if not, them to be able to do their mission and their ministry becomes harder to do.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, now the hard part is picking games. You know how to raise
Hardest
money.
part of my week.
yeah. And it's been such a crazy week. Katie's like, "Hey, I'll see you Friday." I'm like, "What do we have Friday? Do we have a MAC meeting?" She goes, "No picks." I was like, "Oh yeah, the show." So literally it was that way. Of course, we won't put any pressure, but now Misty and you work together, so that's kind of cool. And so,
I mean, I'm a fan.
yeah. So my question is, do you let her win this week? Or
I'm totally tanking this, y'all.
So, okay, I'm picking Dallas.
That's a good like excuse. If she does bad, she
Yeah,
did it on
I
purpose.
did it on purpose to
Like,
not
I've never gone up against my boss, so
Yeah. Well, I would either go agree with her
Yeah.
or go opposite. Yeah.
Wow, ours are the same.
Yeah.
Oh wow, shocker, Misty.
I would
that-
expect Misty to know more about this than me.
Well, you would think, but like
Yeah.
last week I did terrible.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's all fun and games till Misty's looking for a job on Monday. Okay, so let's get to the picks. Again, Josh, it's always tough to find 10 games. Again, don't forget to send your picks in to be in the leaderboard and a chance to win the championship belt that you could win. So let's start off. Old rivalry here, old Southwest Conference rivalry, Texas and Arkansas. Again, one of those games that could be a trap game for UT. Texas, Arkansas. Misty, who you got?
I've got the Longhorns.
I've got the Longhorns also.
The Longhorns.
Yeah, I've got the Longhorns. I just don't think this is the game that's going to be the reason they don't win. I've got Texas. Clemson, Pitt. We know I'm a Dabo fan. We know that they still have a track to maybe get into the college football playoffs, even with the 2 losses, and have a chance to get in. If they're going to, they got to win the ACC. I'd like to see Clemson, SMU in the ACC championship. I'd be okay with that. Josh, who you got? Clemson, Pitt.
Clemson.
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 All right, I got Clemson as well. There's no doubt. All right, so far we're all on the same page. I think this may be where some of us change. Colorado went to Texas Tech last week and took care of business, beat the Red Raiders, tortillas and all the things that were there. I talked to a number of people there at the game. They said that was probably the most atmosphere and energy that have been at the Jones in a long time. Colorado, Utah, I think if they wouldn't admit it, but I bet the ESPN family would have no problem with Colorado being in the college football playoff. The only way they're going to do that is they got to win the Big 12. I don't think they get to the Big 12 championship and then 3-loss team to BYU get in. It's the only way they're going to do it. I'll go ahead and tell you, I've got Coach Prime and Shadur, and I've got Travis Hunter, and I've got Colorado winning.
I do too, but this game is very interesting to me because it's a 10 o'clock start.
In the morning?
11 o'clock here, 10 o'clock in Boulder, Colorado.
How cold's it going to be?
Ugh. Well, they can do it. It's Colorado.
Colorado.
Oh, wow. So we're all on the same page so far. Nobody's changed anything. I think I'm going to do this one real quick. I'm going to change it before anybody says anything. Watch us all still be the same. All right. The home of Pat McAfee, not the home, but where he got his punting debut and went on in West Virginia, Baylor. Baylor's been playing well. I'll be honest with you. That's the one I just switched. I'm going West Virginia.
I've got Baylor, but it's hard to go to West Virginia and play, so you're probably not wrong.
I had Baylor, but I'm going to go with West Virginia as well.
I'm going Baylor.
All right, there we go. All right, we got 2 Baylors. Now somebody actually can win this pick'em thing. All right, now please, for those of you that are in the room, don't be dumb on this pick because there's 2 people behind you that have the permission to tackle you if you do not get this correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got the permission to tackle you if you don't get this correct. We mentioned earlier, joining us a little bit later on for our Big Country Electric Mindtown segment, ACU heading to Tarleton for a conference championship opportunity, playoff opportunity. ACU going to Tarleton. A lot of purple will be there. It's been a lot of fun. I've had the privilege of, we've talked about being the ESPN Plus stuff, getting to call some games and getting to watch these guys play. Coach Patterson, Maverick, Sam Hicks, Nehemiah Martinez, Okie. They've got a really good team. Blaine Taylor. So I feel like ACU wins this one, and then conference championship ring goes on the finger of the guys behind you, Josh.
Yeah, so before I knew that they were going to be in studio, I did have ACU. So I was at that Tech game, crazy game. Y'all won that game, in my opinion, even though the score did not reflect it.
I thought you were about to say,
No.
Before I knew they were
amazing.
But I've seen these guys.
No, they are amazing. It's
Before I
ACU.
knew they were coming in, I had Tarleton, but I'm glad
No,
you said
no.
that. I was like, what are you thinking?
No.
Josh, who you got?
Well, I'm not one to shy away from controversy. I will say that my daughter is beating me in picks overall this year, and she has picked ACU to win, but I have not. So, that's just I wrote it down. I'm sticking with it.
Oh, well. All right. So, you're in luck, Maverick. We'll get a football you can throw at him in a minute. All right. Shirley, you
As an
can't.
alumni, I've got to go ACU.
Yeah. Not only alumni,
But I
she's
would have done it anyway.
outstanding alumni and still paying money at ACU now.
Well, I've heard great things about Mavericks. So.
Yeah. Mav and Sam,
No
fantastic. All right.
pressure.
So let's go to a game that won't get Josh beat up. Tennessee, Georgia. You asked me earlier, take it or trash it, about Georgia and where should it be ranked. I still think they're one of the best teams in the country, even though Carson Beck's not playing that well right now. I feel like Kirby Smart. Honestly, I bet they end up blowing out Tennessee. That's my. You can take it or trash that. I think they blow out Tennessee. They're going to be ticked off. They're playing at home. I've got Georgia winning it, and I think it won't. I don't think it'll be close.
I would love to see it. I've got Georgia as well.
Same here.
I got Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. Oh, see if Rocky Top gets played for Katie. BYU and Kansas. BYU moving up like the Jeffersons in the ranking, moving on up. And so they've moved up. Kansas all of a sudden says, hey, we're kind of good. Let's beat Iowa State. But then Tech beat Iowa State, and then Tech lost to Colorado, so I'm not real sure on all that. But I've got BYU keeping the Big 12 hope alive in the undefeated season. I've got BYU.
Same here.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody would go with Kansas. Kansas doesn't even have a home. They're playing They're playing at Arrowhead. They've got a lot of issues. All right, Steelers, Ravens. I told you week 11 was a week of rivalries. Last night was the Commanders and Eagles. It used to be Redskins and Eagles. And you've got Ravens, Steelers this week. Huge rivalry here. Ravens, Lamar Jackson's probably going to be the MVP for the third time. I think Russell Wilson needs this game to kind of keep that possible Hall of Fame run going. Yes, he's won a Super Bowl, but he had a little stretch in Denver. Ravens, Steelers, Josh, who you got?
Ravens.
Yeah, it's Lamar Jackson. It's Ravens.
Steelers.
I've got the Steelers too. I think Mike Tomlin outcoaches. I think they're at home. Russell Wilson will probably throw a moon ball and find a way to win. Chiefs, Bills. Here's your other rivalry, the new version of Brady and Manning. You've got this Mahomes finding a way. They win their game in Denver. I literally said, well, Denver just lost, or Kansas City just lost, and then they blocked the field goal. They stay undefeated. Until you prove me wrong, I've got Kansas City.
I've got the Bills, but the Chiefs do seem to have the Bills kind of figured out.
I do like Mahomes, but y'all know I love Josh Allen. I'm going Bills. Somebody's going to overthrow him, and it's going to be the Bills.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs. I think Mahomes keeps rolling. I think they thought they might get Pacheco back. They're not getting him back. But again, they did what you're supposed to do, make trades. They brought DeAndre Hopkins to the team and have given Mahomes another weapon. All right, Texans, Cowboys. I'm actually going to be there Monday night to watch this game.
Yeah. I thought the same. I
I'll be
actually
there.
thought the same thing.
I'll be there to watch the Texans. No, I'm just kidding. But the Dallas Cowboys, you can hear that right here on 106.9, the Country Giant. Monday night, also the Aggies are not on here. They're playing New Mexico State. That'd be an easy pick. So that's why they didn't make it. But you can listen to the A&M, the Battle of the Aggies. You know, you see that a lot in high school, rooting for the Bulldogs or the Eagles. Very rarely do you have two Aggies on the field, but you'll have that this week in New Mexico State and A&M. Jerry knows where the sun is.
You don't have to worry about that.
That is a plus on Monday night because the sun will be down about 3 o'clock. So you don't have to worry about that. Does anybody have the Cowboys?
Nope.
What would it take for the Cowboys to win?
It will not happen. There is nothing that can happen.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the Texans had a chance to beat the Lions last week and couldn't get it done.
No, the Texans are not really playing that well right now. But the Cowboys are just. I mean, I won my bet on will Cooper Rush fall on his own. I put the over under at 1. He did fall over on his own, so I can.
I
just figured that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's got the Texans. I do as well. But he had a 1 quarterback rating. Quarterback rating at 1 is what C.J. Stroud last week. I think the Cowboys can win if they can create some turnovers and make some easy decisions and field position for Cooper Rush and the offense. I think they have a chance to do that. So pretty easy, Katie. Not a whole lot of hard games, and as long as I guess Baylor and some of those other ones will be tough. So real quick before we go to commercial, how excited we got the wedding. We had Dash in a couple weeks ago. he and your daughter are now engaged. How's that wedding planning going?
Oh, it's good. He comes home actually tomorrow from Arizona. He's been at strength and conditioning for the last 4 weeks, and so he's ready to be home. And I guess 32 days is the wedding. We're counting down, and it'll be fun. I think we got everything worked out.
Have you already started buying Kansas City Royal gear?
No, but I need to actually. Well, I need to. I will talk about
And can the Hodge Pack get tickets?
I'm a big Cubs fan, so I was like, okay, well, maybe one day we'll get traded and do Cubs. But I think I can do Royals. It's blue,
Right.
it's a good blue. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, good deal. Appreciate you coming on again. Katie and the foundation doing so much for Abilene in the big country. You can find ways. Go to their website. We'll get that to you where you can help the charity and the nonprofit that you may want to as well. When we come back, we'll get Josh out of here so the ACU guys don't beat him up. We'll be back right after this.
Take a quick picture of us before we leave, and then we'll get one of y'all. Yes, we'll get real quick, Josh. I know you gotta go. Okay, we're just gonna turn around right here. You can get right here and do it from like this angle, and we're gonna stand right there.
Even though Josh won't be in the segment with Sam and Maverick, we'll use Maverick's long arm to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
You want it sideways or
Whatever.
1, 2.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. Do I get? Does it look
No,
like fries?
hey, we'll get Katie.
Oh yes, perfect.
We'll take a picture with.
Work smarter, not harder.
Josh Greer.
Yes, I'm Misty.
I don't
Nice to
know if
meet
you
you.
can
I'm Misty. Nice to meet you. Yes, Katie can take it real quick. Yes,
It's gotta be.
yes.
I mean,
We'll get together
I've had
real
this
quick.
game like circled for weeks.
Yeah.
Just
Here you go, guys. Y'all get right here in the middle.
Josh has to leave.
Yes.
He's got to go to get up.
Perfect.
all right, y'all have a good day.
All right.
Hey,
Awesome.
you
Yeah,
lunching?
that's great.
I should.
All right. Bye, Josh.
So,
Have a good day.
Patterson not coming?
All right. I'll be there soon. Okay. See you. All right. Thank you for coming in. Hurry up, brunch. Yes.
No.
I know. I mean,
Thanks,
I know. I was like, dang, I gotta get there.
Y'all can take this and then, unfortunately, we don't have a fourth mic, so.
Just have them both. I'll just sit in. I can just, y'all can each take a mic.
Well,
Yeah.
You might have some questions.
Well, if I do, I'll just kind of jump in. Yeah. Just sit here. Y'all each take a mic, take a seat. And then if I have a question or something,
Okay.
I'll ask, but I mean, I'll just kind of sit. Yeah. That tech game though.
Wasn't it so fun?
Holy.
We should have won.
Yeah, yes. Well, like I said on air, y'all did win that game. Like,
No.
it was wild. I just think it was so cool. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a tech fan.
Yeah.
But I was so excited to go to that game.
Yeah.
We actually were in a suite we had through Coca-Cola.
Uh-huh.
And my son is 19. He goes to Angelo State, and he had never been. And then my daughter's 11, so we all were in the suite.
Yeah.
And we live here. We gone to several ACU
Uh-huh.
events. And
Come on.
but as it got closer, I even said in the suite to some people I didn't even know, I was like, y'all better like watch out. I was like, I think everybody is underestimating ACU. I was like, I would not be surprised if they don't win this game. And everybody was like, it's going to be a blowout. And as it like,
Sam, you
There's
transferred
a-
from,
we
you
went down
transferred from
early.
Central
We got down
Michigan.
two scores, like, right off the bat.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, shoot.
but y'all came back. I mean, I don't know. That was, and even my son, I mean, it was his first game.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my gosh. I said, well, they're not all like that.
Yeah.
But just kudos because,
Yeah.
man, that you were like airing it out. Every
I
time I
know.
looked, I was just like, the ball is like gone.
We had such a good game plan.
I
Our
mean,
coach
y'all
called
did
a good
awesome.
game.
Like,
It was freaking awesome.
it was a very impressive
Yeah.
game.
We also have 6 starters from Texas Tech too, so that helps.
Yeah, well,
Well,
I noticed
and-
y'all were on the field for a long time after the game, like talking to
Yeah.
everybody,
We-
and it seemed pretty friendly.
It is.
Was
It's
it?
all friendly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a ton of buddies up there.
But like, I bet they were scared
They were scared.
because they thought that they
Todd
thought they
said-
were gonna handle
Todd said he
y'all.
was scared for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were all like, because me and Barry were like really good buddies. Like, dude, y'all won that game.
Yes,
Like,
y'all did. Yeah, even though the score didn't
It's like, I don't know
reflect it.
how we pulled that out.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
it's just that was really cool to
Their
witness.
stadium's pretty nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that end zone conference is cool.
Yes, it was very nice. I bet that was so fun for y'all too to
Yeah.
play in the
Yeah.
stadium like that, and the fans. That was a packed game.
Yeah, it
too.
got pretty loud.
Yeah, but yeah, that was super fun.
They had a team come on. That was cool. The 2 teams.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, the little like the drone show was
Yeah.
super cool.
Do you want me to ask KP if he's coming?
you can.
Y'all make sure that you can pull these to you, but make sure like you're up on.
Are you
it,
good with
know?
talking about how did you play any 6-man?
I did, yeah, like middle school.
Middle school, yeah. We got one more spot.
Where are y'all from?
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
I graduated from Central. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my son, he had to go to Lakeview. He wanted to go to Central, but his dad was in a different district.
Yeah.
But he had only went there 2 years, and then he was at Wiley. But Garrett O'Brien, Logan
Yeah.
O'Brien.
Logan O'Brien's like my dog.
Logan O'Brien.
Really?
Yes, we're very close to Logan. Yes, and G.
Yeah.
My son's very close to them, so yeah. Big fan of the
Logan
O'Briens.
was my receivers coach.
Yeah.
When I was there, and me and him
I
have
love
gone in and out. We
Yeah.
played golf together all the time.
He's awesome.
He's so crazy.
Yeah.
He's a fun time.
My son was in G's wedding.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, taking care of their members each and every day in Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. We normally highlight a local player, coach, or program, and today we're highlighting 2 players and program, the ACU Wildcat football team, who has brought a lot of excitement literally from the beginning to now. As Misty and Maverick were talking, of course, it all started in Lubbock. The season, of course, for these guys, they started in the summer. But joining us in studio, quarterback Maverick McIver, running back Sam Hicks. Glad you guys are here this morning, and I hope it wasn't too early. We made sure you got you in the second hour, not the hour number 1. But I appreciate you guys being here this morning.
Thanks for having us.
So we've been talking about it. Of course, that's what happens when you don't pick the right team. We tell Josh to leave, and that's what we did. So we sent Josh Packett, and so anyway, it's good stuff, and we're gonna add now. Coach KP's in. We got a good time, and Coach KP and Mav, y'all can share that mic. We're working on getting that 4th mic sponsor. But so hey, it's a big week, you know. So who was your big rival when you were in high school? Because to me, I think Tarleton's probably that rival. Everybody's got rivals. We talked about week 11 in the NFL as being a big rival. Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Arkansas is an old rival. So who was the rival when you were in school at Central?
Permian. So,
Permian.
Yeah. So Permian was always our big rival. I was lucky enough to go 3-0 versus those guys, but like going to their stadium full of rich culture and history was always
Right.
fun. And then our stadium was always a packed house when they came to us. So like that was always our game on the map that we looked forward to.
What about you, Sam? Who is the one that you had circled when you were in high school?
So I went to Northern Catholic my last 2 years. I want to say All Saints, because All Saints, we have like from the city from Fort Worth, like Jalen Robertson, Money Parts, like that guy. Those guys was like our rivals at that. You know, we call them guys from the West.
Right.
And they'll always be like an impactful game. You know, because we lost in the playoffs and we got them back the year next. So.
Well, and rivalries are fun. And this week that y'all have one, y'all were joking about how many guys and how probably that first week was a bit of a rival because of so many Red Raiders that kind of came along with Coach Patterson to Abilene. And now y'all played them. And so rivalries are fun. And it's even a little more fun when there's something at stake. And first of all, as a guy that's gotten to call a couple of games for you guys on ESPN Plus with Andy Penny and just being at the stadium and just watching you guys, literally the beginning of it, of course, with we won't worry about the stuff that happened after the game. That's neither here nor there. But y'all had a year of excitement of being able to be on a run and having something to play for has got to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year's definitely been my most fun year of college football. Just the ups and downs and like just the things you go through without a team. I think this year we have a really close team, a bunch of guys that really care about each other, love each other. And I mean, talent only takes you so far, I think. And I think we actually care about each other, and it's kind of pushed us over the edge. I mean, Sam's a transfer. We have a bunch of guys in that I feel like they love to win and they really care about winning. And it's been so fun. And this week's going to be awesome.
So, Sam, you go from Fort Worth to Central Michigan, where it's probably a little chillier up there. And so what's it like? What has Abilene meant to you? Fort Worth, I always think Fort Worth is kind of the small town of the big cities in the Metroplex.
Yeah.
what has Abilene been like to you? I know Coach Patterson's done a real good job of kind of educating a little bit on the team and doing the study of, hey, what Abilene is. What's it been like being in Abilene, Texas, playing college football at the D1 level and get to enjoy West Texas?
You know, I think it's real big here. You know, it's big country. You know,
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me when like a lot of people who work hard come to our games because they see themselves in us. You know, I think Abilene is very friendly. You know, I love the school spots for sure. You know, every time I go to Fuzzies or something, it's always somebody, oh yeah, you go to ACU. You know,
Right.
it's pretty cool. That make me want to represent ACU more because I'll represent ACU while I walk off that field. You know,
Right.
it's all about character. And I think I represent big country as well.
Right.
So it means a lot to me. It's kind of like Fort Worth, everybody comes to the game.
Yep.
Same thing here at Abilene.
Yep.
You know.
Well, and I had an opportunity to talk to Abilene Cooper, their basketball team. They asked me to come speak to them. And I talked to them. I said, I just want you to know every one of you as student athletes have a platform. It's not just Tebow or LeBron or Tiger or Caitlin Clark. You all have a platform. And at even a bigger level, coming out of the game, out of the booth the other night after the Southern Utah game, man, you're signing autographs and you've got kids coming up to see you and all those things. That's got to be pretty cool knowing, hey, this platform I got and the D1 experience that you're getting at ACU, but also that the fans are getting. Of course, y'all play in one of the best stadiums there is.
No doubt. I mean, our stadium is top tier in our conference. It's really up to anybody. It's a really awesome stadium, and that platform, I mean, it's something that you can use wisely, especially if you're a faithful guy. If you're a good godly man or whatever, like use that platform to your advantage and share Christ through it. And I think it is something that, like Sam said, the big country is represented well. And like it is, it's hard workers. It's people getting their hands dirty. It's, blue collar mentality. And I think our team really tries to resemble that. And it's something that we look forward to and actually take pride in.
Well, and that's one of the things, and I'm gonna let you swing it to Coach Patterson. So I love it when we had Ritzy in here, and I'm thinking, we could tell real quick that wasn't a West Texas accent. I said, so what's your like doing here? And so, Coach, you've got a lot of big games, been a part of it, but 3 years ago they gave you a chance to be that head coach, and you took advantage of it. And you talked about how year 3 was the marker, and we're here. And so, what does this week mean to you? We know they're excited. It's circle rivalry. What does it mean to you as a head coach knowing what's ahead of you?
Well, it's a player's game, obviously, and to be able to sit there and set a vision out. We've been talking about this very night since after the Mississippi State Liberty Bowl game. I remember meeting with our team on a Sunday evening and telling them that, and if you choose to stay, it'll be the best decision you ever made in your life because we're going to be a program that wins championships, and here we are 3 years later. And like I said, I've been pointing toward this year because it just takes time to establish that championship mindset and culture. And it's hard to get 100+ people in your organization to become like-minded. It's not just something that happens overnight. Even though we played for the championship our first year here against Stephen F. Austin, I think Maverick will attest to this. We're in a much better place than where we were at that particular time.
Well, and I think organizations, we see that at pro level, college level, that people that make the decision on coaches don't understand that. They expect, wow, somebody did so good their first year, it should be that all the time. And then you find out real quick, you got to get people bought in because not only terminology, but what makes me tick, what makes the DC. I know we got a new offensive coordinator and Coach Bowie this year, first year, but you got to figure out what makes you tick, and it takes a little bit longer. It's like if your first date, it's kind of like, hey, first date was great. We got to make sure date number 2 is good, date number 3 is good, and that we grow into the marriage and relationship that you want, and that's kind of where we're at now.
That's right. I mean, everything, and I talk to our guys all the time about how your afflictions or your losses and things prepare you. And it produces endurance, and endurance produces proven character. And that's where we are now. I mean, we've had some tough losses in our time here. I think at one point, this group of seniors are 11-4 at home. Our goal is to go undefeated at home. If you look at those 4 losses, we lost by 1 point, 3 points, 3 points, and 7 points. So we've taken that, and it's been a part of the process of building a program that can win football games when circumstances get difficult. And that's what we've established.
Well, and Maverick and Sam last week, and I'll go back to you, United Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week. You experienced that. You know, we talk about trap games and even like don't circle Tarleton too much because there's Austin P in the way, and had a battle and found a way to win that close game.
No doubt. I think it's just going back to your preparation. Never getting too far ahead of yourself. Just looking forward, staying in the moment, staying in the present. Just being really where your feet are. And I think that helped us last week. We went on the road. Environment was kind of crazy, rainy, cloudy, wet. But we found a way to win, and I think that's kind of what separated our team this year. We find a way to win close games.
Well, and that's what you want to be able to do. Anybody can blow out somebody, but when you have to battle and find a way to win that tough game, I mean, we saw that last week in the NFL. All you got to do is make a field goal, and you beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And next thing you know, one side of the offensive field goal unit crumbles, and Patrick Mahomes is still undefeated. So, Sam, I'm going to ask one of Misty's questions. What is your prep? How are you prepping for and not looking at the game that Tarleton, what it means, but just what it is as a game? How do you prepare to get ready for tomorrow?
You know, first I always pray to God. I always talk to God the week before and the night before the game. And then also just to do my job, you know, I look at every game as the same game. I always look at opponents the same, take everybody the same. I don't look at, oh, this is a big game, because you worry about that. It's not about discipline, you know. It's about us doing your job. And when I look at every game and saying, okay, this is just another game, another opponent that's holding us from conference championship. That's how I looked at Austin P. That's how I looked at Southern Utah. I ain't look at anyone that was below or two above. It's just a game. Just have fun, do your job, and give glory to God. Just play hard and show effort and energy. That's why I do it every practice. Like, I might be bruised up, banged up, but I practice hard, man. You know, I practice hard.
Dion said I practice like I play, so that when I play, it'll be practice. So, you got to keep making plays. That's one of the speeches you said. Got to keep making.
And to be honest, Tuesday is really the hardest. It's really harder than Saturday, Tuesday, because Tuesdays you already banged up. You mentally exhausted, but you still got to go. And I thank God for just giving me that real power just to keep going harder and harder, because I know I have to go. I know my team will go. I know KP has to go. And man, when that Saturday comes, this is easy. You know, like Ohio State, they practice hard. You know, they practice hard. And when that game comes, it's easy because they practice harder than the opponents. And that's why I try to practice harder than my opponents every time.
So what about you? The leader, you're your guy in the huddles. That's RIP to huddles. But how do you handle going in tomorrow?
Sam had a really, really good point, and I think a lot of us kind of see it the same way. It's just kind of getting lost in your work and not skipping steps. Each week should be the same, and it's kind of get tired of the monotony of just, going through your week and having the same motions and just not ever skipping steps, and knowing that you put the work in, you deserve to win. You put enough work in that it's not like, oh, here, you're given a win. Like, you got to earn your win. And I think Tuesday, Wednesday for us is our hard days. We put in the work, and it's something that you can lead back to and kind of rely on. And
I think, and I'll kind of ask this for Coach as well. I think when you start looking at other games differently, it puts a pressure that doesn't need to be there. If you prepare and know, hey, I'm doing what I've been doing all along, then you get ready for that. Because if not, confidence. If you just show, if you're like, it's kind of like a 3-foot putt to win a golf tournament. Yeah. If you start thinking about to win this golf tournament and a 3-foot putt and there's not anything going on with it, it's just a 3-foot putt, and you say 3-foot putt 5 times before you putt it, most of the time you're going to miss it because you've not prepared yourself for that moment. And I think the games from Tech to last week's big win, in between, prepare not for Tarleton, but prepare for the opportunity because it's a football game. And so is that how you kind of look at it as you?
Yeah, we have a definitive plan each and every week. And I talk to my coaches all the time. Don't let routine be mistaken for complacency, because I think sometimes that kind of, there's a fine line. And I think the biggest thing too for me and for our players is that we have a definitive plan to win on offense and defense. So if you focus on the things that it takes to win, and if you focus and stick to the plan, then winning is just a byproduct of all of that preparation.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming in. Again, I know you probably got a long – what do we got today? What's today? Sam, what does Friday look like?
This is scrub day. This is.
We got classes today. No classes.
I'm a grad class.
Okay.
But I'm good. But this is like a view before the test.
Right.
Make sure everything's perfect. Meetings. Then get ready to eat the team and get ready for the game tomorrow.
Right.
That's all it is.
Matt, what is your Friday?
Yeah, me and Sam are actually in the same grad program, so
Okay.
we're not doing much today in school. But yeah, hanging out with the guys, hotel, relationships, polishing it up, getting rid of and just cleaning up the game plan.
Well, guys, hey, it's not a long drive to Stephenville, Texas. My wife and I are finally a short drive, no plane ride. I guess we can fly you to Stephenville. Somebody can get on that. Short drive, 6 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. You can be in Stephenville, cheer on the Wildcats, come back, still make it for church on Sunday. You're fine. But I encourage you, like I said, my wife and I are heading out tomorrow when she gets done with ballet rehearsal, and we're heading to Stephenville to go watch. And so I just appreciate Sam Ferguson, Evan Nemick, everybody at ACU, and Coach KP for coming in, kind of been a regular guest, and it's a good regular guest when football's happening and we're winning and rocking and rolling. And so head over. You can get a Maverick taco at Fuzzy's if you want to. You can get one of those at Fuzzy's on the north side. And if you see Sam and those guys, continue to encourage them. And as they go find a way to get another one against Tarleton and put a conference championship ring on their finger. Guys, appreciate it. And we'll see y'all there tomorrow night.
Thank you.
All right. It's Sam Hicks, Maverick McGyver, and Coach Keith Patterson, ACU Wildcats, getting ready to go to Tarleton tomorrow and find a way to make some history for ACU. When we come back, Misty and I will keep it rolling.
Logan responded. I was sending some pics. I said, got Maverick on my radio show this morning. He said he knows you. He goes, yes, that's my boy. He goes, one of my all-time favorite people.
Yeah, man.
So I found out.
I called him today.
Yeah. We were
I coached
texting
in
the other
Pop
day
for 10
because
years.
he's got a crew on 200 and he's like, where can I feed him an outline? And so where can I take him? So I guess so. And so this is like a coach to me. But yeah, I was like, when y'all were talking about it. Yes. Yeah, so it was weird. They kind of moved away, like in the Metroplex, and then he and Bree. Like I said, we were all very close, but Ethan.
He's in New Mexico.
Yeah. He used to be really close to Logan. Well, then when Logan graduated, like he's there the years or a little bit, because my son's only 19. And so, but James and his wedding, and so we were all together. Oh my gosh, you can imagine those hotel nights for that weekend. But no, I've known Logan, gosh, because I've known Jerry.
Yeah.
I used to live next door to them years ago. Ethan was like 5. So I mean, I've known them like 14 with Avalos. I'm sure you do, but that's my son. And so yeah, he was Wiley, and then he went to Lakeview senior. But yeah, we're very close to the O'Brien. So that's why when you said Central, I was like, you have to know Logan and Gene.
I know.
Yeah.
Love me that so much for me.
Yeah. He is awesome. I love him.
Crazy.
He is, but no, his wife, I mean, they seem to be doing great.
Yeah.
So
I called him the other day. It was funny. It was like practice. I missed his call. I called him. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I just got out of jiu-jitsu. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm so sore. Like, this dude's messing me
so
up.
crazy.
Yeah.
So what's y'all's plan post this year? Are you try to go to combines and give it a whirl?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Give it a whirl, get an agent going, train a little bit, and just see what it takes you.
That's cool. Would you be open to either XFL or any of it?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's
What's
cool.
y'all's major? I mean, post grad. What do y'all?
We're strength and conditioning.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I want to go to nursing school.
You got it?
I was out of here.
Hey, good to see
Coach,
you
appreciate
again.
it.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a lot.
much.
You bet.
Best of luck. Yeah.
See y'all.
Yeah, well, good luck. Yes. Bye. Yeah, excited for y'all. Very exciting. Very cool.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
when you win, we'll have you back on.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah, fun way
Well,
to,
Yes,
we gotta bring our
Yes,
hats and our gear up here.
good to meet you. Good to meet you.
That's what my life back hats unlock, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Good
enjoy
luck.
it. Hey, and tell your people, friends and family, we'll have it on, we'll upload it to the podcast.
Yes.
And then you can tell people, you've been on the same show as Kirk Herbstreit,
Yeah.
Marty Smith.
Really?
Dan Orlowski. In
All
fact, Kirk Herbstreit texted me back this morning.
Really? That's freaking awesome. Where'd you interview him at? Or when was he on? Here?
It was over the phone.
Dabo.
We had Dabo Sweeney on. Need to go.
I think they're gonna win this week too.
Yeah, you can check out our Facebook page, and we got to do almost a 30-minute Zoom with Dabo.
Yeah.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I heard he's a stand-up.
So y'all are in good company.
Hey, text. We're about to go here. Shoot me your numbers, and I'll send you our stuff. If you're good with that. I mean, you don't have to share that if you don't want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we've had Bubba Watson's been on, Mike
Bubba
Greenberg,
Watson.
Harry Douglas, Laura Rutledge.
Laura Rutledge.
Yeah, I've learned real quick. You know who Laura Rutledge is? Yeah. She's been on. I've learned real quick. If they write a book, they'll come on.
Greenie.
Mike Greenberg's been on. Greenie's been on.
Yeah, we got, this is his other book.
Yeah.
The first one got your number, but yeah.
Yeah, if they've got a book coming out, they'll come on. That's how we got Kirk Herbstreit.
Little publicity
Did
rating.
you call
Yeah.
it, or
Yeah.
did you save it or call it?
Oh, I saved it.
You
Yeah.
saved it.
Yeah, they don't care if they sell 4 books in Abilene, Texas. We have it, like I said, Marty Smith has been on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
How do
pretty
y'all
cool.
reach out to those people?
I started developing a little relationship with ESPN, and they've been pretty good.
Really?
ESPN and the golf world have been the best too.
The golf world.
Yeah.
You play a lot of golf?
Yeah. I'm not very good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll holler at y'all.
Bye, guys. Good luck.
Thanks. See y'all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to have Maverick and Sam in. Again, they've been a lot of fun to watch this year. Misty got to go down memory lane a little bit on with Maverick. And so what was the connections?
So he is really good friends with Logan O'Brien, who graduated, was a quarterback at Central, very successful quarterback at Central in San Angelo, and went on to be a coach. And so he's done some coaching things, I think, with Mav, and they've known each other and just very close friends. And so whenever he said that he went to Central, I was like, oh, you must know Logan O'Brien and Garrett O'Brien. He was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, I love Logan. And so it's just such a small world. And, you know, I don't know, I feel like pumped up just sitting here, being in this room, listening to that interview. Those guys are just amazing. And I mean, on the field, off the field, it doesn't get much better than those 3 that were just here. Just very inspiring. And I hope that they bring it home.
Jordan, who graduated from Tarleton, she says, go Tarleton. We can't really say that out loud because the AC football players could still hear us. But she also said, Dixon says, hey, Hodge. And Mr. Josh, hey, Dixon, how are you doing, buddy? But no, it's been really cool to see. And that's one of the things that I give a shout out to and props to, you know, from football, basketball, baseball, all the sports, is getting that D1 experience that they're getting to have. And they mentioned even getting to play. Unfortunately, the Tech game didn't go the way they wanted. But the energy that they got to experience playing at Tech at the beginning of the year. And so it's just it's cool. And I encourage you, if you can, head to Tarleton, 6 o'clock. They got a lot of fun places to eat, and then go watch a good football game. Clear bag policy. Be sure you get the clear bag if you're bringing any of that. But it's good stuff to see that happening for them. And just talking about, and then it's true, you can order the Maverick taco at Fuzzy on the north side. That was actually part of our notes. ACU gives you all these different notes of game notes that you can use as you get ready for your game and your broadcast and all that. And that was one of them was the Maverick, and it has like steak, potato, and eggs, which is pretty Texan. If you,
I was going to say that seems very fitting for Maverick.
Yeah. And so anyway, it'll be interesting. Some of the things I want to talk about as we head into the show. One is you heard one of our one of our intros that brings us back to the show is Sounds of What I Do from Mark Powell. And today at 10 o'clock Central, they'll be releasing Outlaws and Legends, the lineup for next year for 2025. And so I think ticket sales, as far as getting a discount on those, in tomorrow at 10 Central. So be sure you get those. And again, the artist lineup will be announced at 10 o'clock today, 10 Central, to let you know who's going to be coming to Outlaws and Legends next year. Misty, this weekend, we've talked a lot of college football, but I think one of the things that we've kind of not looked at enough of, I guess you would say, is there are some really good NFL games this week, and we picked the Chiefs and the Bills. And do you think, how much pressure do you think is on Josh Allen, even though it's only a regular season game?
Oh gosh, I feel like the Chiefs are the monkey on his back, and it has been that way for years. And so, yeah, this would probably feel like a bigger game, even though it's just a regular season game. But the Bills need this game. And because I don't know, I feel like you would probably agree the Chiefs have just been that team that they cannot overcome. And so I'm really hoping, and I like the Chiefs too, but I really want it for the Bills. I've been kind of on Bills Mafia, I don't know, the last probably 3 years, and feel the heartbreak whenever they lose, especially to the Chiefs. But I really am hoping that they can pull out. Somebody's going to do it. I want it to be the Bills. I'm hoping that somebody can, dethrone the Chiefs' undefeated record so far. It almost happened last week. I'm hoping the Bills can get it done, and I believe in them, and I think they can do it.
Well, and you mentioned thinking that the Bills would be the team that would put the loss in the column for the Chiefs. And you look at what they have left. So they play the Bills at Buffalo, which I think gives some help to the Bills.
Oh, absolutely.
But then they go Panthers. They should win that.
Yeah.
Raiders should win that. Then they play the Chargers again, which the Chargers gave them a little bit of fits, only beating them 17-10. The Chiefs beat the Chargers 17-10. That'll be a tough one, but that's going to be at Arrowhead, so that should be fine. The Browns are terrible. The Texans, I've not been able to beat. I mean, they beat the Bills, but they haven't really been playing well. And then they go to the Steelers and the Broncos. So if I look at how many games are left for them to lose, I say it's the Bills, Steelers, and Broncos, because Bo Nix is actually playing better than I thought he would. Now, the other thing that we've seen that's been a lot of talk nationwide is how Caleb Williams and the Bears have kind of started going the other way. They fired their offensive coordinator. In that, what makes Caleb Williams a bust? Is he an automatic bust now, or is it one of these deals? Scrap his first year, get a new head coach in there. What do you think makes Caleb Williams a bust?
Well, I just think that we've got to get somebody in there to develop him and coach him up. I mean, I don't know. It's like we've got some adversity, so okay, let's just scrap everything. And I'm like, well, why don't we try to develop him and coach him up? I don't know what is going on. I just feel like their organization is a disaster right now, and I don't agree with a lot that's happening. And so I don't know. I don't think that he's a bust.
I don't think so either. I think you can't.
They're looking at it like that though, and that's what's frustrating.
I mean, they're 4-5. They're 4-5 on the year, which is not great, obviously, but they're 4-5 on the year. They've played well. They're a defensive back away from paying attention from beating the Commanders, because if the DB that was over there talking trash to the fans had been in play, maybe he doesn't knock it into the guy that catches. Yeah. But they're not that far away. But I do think, and that's my struggle with. Part of the reason I think the Cowboys struggle is we've got Mike McCarthy on this last year of his contract. So he's kind of like a guy that is a contractor, and they won the job for. Let's go out here. The ones that have won the job for the parking lot at the mall, or won the job for. I saw a guy when I was in New Orleans. He was an electrician, and they won the job to remodel this Hilton because they're getting ready for the Super Bowl that's coming. Mm-hmm. And he says, when we're done, we move on to another job and start working there. That's what I feel like. Like Eberflus should have probably lost his job last year, that they keep him one more year. You know that if things don't go perfect, he's probably going to be gone. So now you're looking at Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, very similar to Trevor Lawrence, as here is Urban Meyer, disaster, and now his year is wasted, and you bring in Doug Peterson. Well, that's kind of where you are with Caleb Williams, and that's my point with the Cowboys. Unless something was totally amazing with Dak's new contract and Mike McCarthy, Mike McCarthy in all likely is not going to be the coach next year. So now not only do you have to do that, now you're going to have to play really good. We talked about pressure with Sam and Maverick. Now you've got this pressure of no contract. Yeah, you've made enough money. You don't need to coach again. But now you're going to have to start over again with a new coach. And now in this situation with a new hamstring. And so I just think when teams have coaches that are at the end of their last contract, they need to look at them like players. If we've got enough faith in you, we're going to go ahead and renew you and re-sign you now. Because if not, you're playing as a lame duck. You're playing with a lot of pressure, and now you're getting what you're signed up for.
When you're under a microscope, I mean, you could look at it both ways. Yeah, well, you're playing for your job. So if you have a crap season, like Mike, see you later. But if this was a great season, then it's like, do they renew that? Do they bring him back? You know, I mean, then it's like it could go either way.
But in a game, and I know we got about 20 seconds for me to say this, in a time where you can afford buyouts, in a business that you can afford buyouts, I think you're better off signing that extension. And if it doesn't work out then making the change, paying the buyout. Because if not, it puts in that uncertainty when you go to work, whether it was at the bank or is at the foundation. If I go to work at the co-op or at wherever else, when unsettling things happen, the job suffers, and that's what's happening in Dallas. Hey, guys, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Be sure, don't forget, 10 o'clock, Outlaws and Legends, 10 o'clock, JB Cloud coming in, and, of course, the Texas two-step this afternoon. Good luck to all our Big Country teams that are in the playoffs. We'll be back next week with hopefully a lot more Big Country teams still playing football. Go to Stephenville tomorrow. We're out.
Woo! Good show.